Hey folks, welcome. Here we discuss real stories by real people. Today we have the story of a man who finds out his wife has been having an affair with another man. Let's see how it goes. Story 1. I, 29 male, and my now ex-wife, 27, met in 2019 when she was just about finishing her first degree. After 3 years, we got married. 5 months after our honeymoon, she revealed she was going to continue her education. I didn't object, as I wanted the best for her. However, we had a discussion that ended with us deciding to have children. A discussion she agreed to. After a year of her study, I brought up the idea of us having children. To my surprise, she did a 180 and refused the idea of us having children. When I asked her why, she replied she wanted to focus on her studies. I told her I was her biggest supporter and I wished the best for her, but that was not our agreement. Next thing, she replied casually that maybe she wasn't thinking right. Maybe the marriage should never have been an option. This got me mad, and we had a small argument. We eventually started talking, but there was a little strain in our marriage. She was going out way too often, and I noticed she took any opportunity to stay out longer. After a while, I met up with an acquaintance who asked me why I couldn't accompany my ex to his wedding. I asked him what he meant, and he told me my ex-wife had attended with another guy as her date. He described the guy who I recognized as her classmate. That night, I had a conversation with her and told her about the wedding she didn't inform me about. I also asked her if she was having an affair with the guy. I was expecting her to retort or snap at me for accusing her of something she didn't do. She did the exact opposite and confirmed she was having an emotional affair with him. She cried and promised to stop. When she went back to bed, I took her phone where she had left it on the table and glanced at the notification. A guy was requesting pictures of her tits. I took the guy's number and slept off. The next morning, she woke me up with kisses and breakfast in bed. I told her about the message I saw the previous night. She told me how the guy had been all over her and how he couldn't take no for an answer just because they had one dance. By the time she was done with the conversation, I was convinced she was being harassed by the fella. I knew what I was going to do. I had to warn him to stay out of my ex-wife's way. The next day, I went to her school and asked around for the guy. When I met him, I introduced myself to him and asked him to leave my ex-wife alone. The next thing he did was open his phone and show me their conversations. He also showed me pictures of them together and made me know my ex-wife was the one all over him. I was embarrassed, angry, and hurt. I went home immediately. I arrived home to meet my ex-wife picking her clothes and packing her bags. When I asked her what happened, she replied that she needed some space, that I had embarrassed her by confronting that guy about their relationship. It was a personal issue. She walked out while I was still yelling at her for deceiving me and cheating on me. I later found out she was living with him. After 3 weeks, I got the divorce papers ready and sent them to her. She refused to sign it. I called her new man and told him to tell her to sign it. In the end, she signed it. Now I'm a single man again, and dare I say, a happy one. Update. She came to my office some days ago. The guy she left me for was bisexual, and she just discovered it. Next thing, she starts begging me to take her back. Of course, I shun her and tell her that's never happening. She even went as far as saying she was ready to wear my ring and bear all the burden that came with it. In the end, I had the security escort her out of my office. Also warned the security that she might try to pull the same stunt again. I'm a bit worried, but oh, karma. I'm sorry this happened to you, OP. Your ex-wife ruined her marriage herself and she broke her vows first. She had an affair publicly. She took him on a date when you two were still together. She threw away her stable relationship with you for an exciting fickle one. Now your ex is only getting the consequences of her actions. She threw away the love and support you gave her. Now let her handle the consequences all on her own. Good luck to you, OP. Story 2. I'm going to keep this vague to hopefully protect the not-so-innocent. About 5 months ago, I confronted my wife about my suspicions that she had been unfaithful. I finally got her to admit that she had been having an ongoing affair for some time, almost a year at that point. We talked it through and stayed together. We kind of moved forward and didn't really mention the affair. I had an indiscretion of my own that I confessed at the same time. I would rather not provide more details. So we kind of put this all behind us and tried to move on. I did not continue my indiscretion, although I was tempted. Fast forward about 5 months. I discovered on my wife's cell phone that she had not stopped the affair, but had actually continued it after our big reveal. Text messages confirmed it had still been going on. But the strangest thing happened after she revealed this to me. I was upset at first, but we eventually just talked it out and things were really good. We became much closer, the sex was great, and I actually became a better husband and person. I thought I was doing everything right. Well, I suspect that she may not be done with her infidelity. I believe she may be involved with 1 or possibly 2 other people. I can't confirm this yet, but it looks pretty suspicious. So what do I do here? Part of me wants to just be done here, but another part of me wants to make it work. I love her very much, and of course I get frustrated by her at times and we have our disagreements, but I think we generally are good to each other. However, it tears me up that she's telling me one thing right now, I love you, you're so great, let's make this work, but then she's possibly still doing the same things. We have 2 young kids. They don't know anything's going on and wouldn't really understand anyway, but I know that factors into the equation. I want to do what's best for them, end of story. If that means leave, with them I hope, then I'll do that. If it means stay, then I will do that. I'm active, and my wife is active, but I'm pretty much non-believing. Going public would be a big deal because we would probably both get X'd. Update. So, yesterday, I knew that my wife was texting the guy who I suspect she may be starting something with, not the original lover. Anyway, I hopped on her phone last night, she was asleep, and she deleted all her text messages. It looks pretty suspicious to me, but I can't be sure what the text said because they're all gone. So my dilemma now is, do I just lay this all today or this weekend? Or do I wait for more solid evidence on the new guy? I'm pretty torn up about all this. I'm exhausted from not sleeping. I can't eat, and I can't think about anything else. I love her and my kids so much, but I can't keep going on with this. My concern about confronting her now is that if things haven't gone far enough with this new guy, she may not feel sufficient remorse. And she can deny that anything is happening because she deleted all the evidence. But sneaking around spying on her is exhausting and feels creepy. Last update. I posted a couple months ago about discovering that my NOM-ish wife had been cheating on me. That was back in March. Since that time, my wife changed her phone number and we went to marriage counseling. We only went to 4 sessions because the counselor was weird, but we tried. We continued to try our reconciliation on our own. I had made up my mind that if she cheated again, I was dealing with multiple affairs over a period of years, then I would be done. Well, yesterday, I found out about a new guy she's been having sex with during the time we were supposed to be reconciling. Of course, she was deleting all of their text messages. So last night, I was lying in bed and I was pretty convinced that divorce was the only option. But then this morning, she texts me begging me to stay, saying that we're soulmates. She can't believe she did this to me, etc. So now I'm being sucked back into it. I think she has a serious problem, and I feel like I need to help her get through that problem. That's crazy, I know, but that's what my heart is telling me. The other issue is our 2 kids under the age of 8. I love them so much and don't want them to have to go through this. But for my sanity, I'm not sure I can stay in this relationship. She told her parents that we're getting divorced because of something she did, but she didn't provide details and has asked that I not provide details either. You did the best you could for your marriage, OP. I'm sorry this is happening to your marriage. I can't imagine how heartbreaking finding out she's been seeing another man while you 2 were working on your marriage must have been for you. Either she doesn't care about her marriage or you at all, or she just can't help herself. Either way, I believe you've done all you can. Divorce her, OP. Your kids will be alright. Now for some comments. I agree with others about separating immediately. If you really don't want to, don't divorce her. But you definitely need to separate and stop enabling her dangerous behavior by giving her a safe zone to come back to. She needs to go, be on her own, realize what she's giving up, and choose to get help for herself. You can decide whether you want to be there to help her pick up the pieces after she does that. Given that you're on the Exmo Reddit, I assume you agree with the rest of us that trusting your heart is a recipe for disaster. When it comes to emotional topics like this, you need to trust your head, the one on your shoulders. She does have a serious problem, but you need to make it no longer your problem. Honestly, based on her amount of partners, I would go get tested for STDs right away. It is unlikely she will ever get through that problem of banging the shit out of other men. Of course she's going to try whatever to get you back, but once she has you, she'll go back to banging other dudes. Your kids will be better off with a father who provides stability and is emotionally strong. The way you get there is by divorcing your wife. Be nice about it, and be nice to her, but be firm. Also, consider finding a counselor for yourself. Have her see a therapist or psychologist to find out what's wrong with her. This seems like a problem that she needs some kind of professional help with. We've always been taught that this kind of behavior is evil, but maybe it's a mental problem. Years ago, I knew a girl who behaved in this kind of way and it damaged all of her relationships. She ended up going to a psychologist, and it turned out she had been sexually molested as a very small child. I couldn't believe it. I never learned how things worked out for her. This may not be your wife's problem, but it's just an idea. This girl that I knew never told anyone what had happened to her for years because it was so painful.